All right, welcome everybody to the Outer Rim Emporium. Today I'm going to be talking and showing you the necessities to post-processing a 3D print and the products I use. I will leave links in the description down below on the links to the Walmart website for where I get it because everything I can get, local Walmart, they will carry it. So without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, so the first thing I'm going to be talking about is glue. So the first thing you're going to need to do with a fresh 3D print, because the way they come when I do them is they will come in the printed parts. So typically a front half of a helmet, this scenario I'm going to be using a helmet as an example, the front half of the helmet, the back half of the helmet, and then the top slash dome of the helmet, along with any greeblies and accessories that may go along with it. You're going to need something to assemble those. So I recommend Gorilla Glue, the contact adhesive clear grip. It bonds with plastic very well. It is a permanent bond. You can get it off if you need to. I recommend, if needing to separate it, using an X-Acto knife to scrape down and get the glue off. Um, Now, with applying it, you can squeeze out as thick or as thin of a line as you need to apply to the surface area of the helmet. It is very thick in consistency and it does come out a little tacky. The instructions on there do recommend letting it sit on their surface for about 2 minutes beforehand. I usually wait about a minute. It's about the best consistency I use. And then press it together, hold together for I'd say a good 2 minutes of good firmness on there. And then it should be good to go for just to sit there and dry. It still does need a full 24-hour drying period. But other than that, that is the glue I recommend for assembling the 3D prints. Now, the next thing you're going to need is Bondo glazing and spot putty. The one on screen is the one that I recommend for beginners, and just because it's so easy to use. How I use it is I get a pair of latex gloves. You can get these at Walmart in the automotive section. All of this can be found in the automotive section. I get a pair of nitrile gloves, $5 for 50. Um, Apply paste to either straight onto the helmet or onto the finger of your glove and rub it into those areas that you need to get and fill in those layer lines and get it as smooth as possible. The glazing and spot putty does take about 2 to 3 hours to be good and sandable dry. I would recommend waiting at least 5. That is the best result I've gotten out of mine. Um, but you can say you take the 3 hours, sand it down, and if you need to apply some more, that won't hurt it. I've just gotten the best results with waiting 5. Um, so yes, this will be the Bondo glazing and spot putty. Can be found in the automotive section, along with another variant of it, which is just a big tub of the non-premix solution, which you can buy. It is a significantly bigger tub. I believe it's a quart. But you do have to activate it with a hardening paste, and you need to get that spot on, or it will either cure too fast before you're ready, or it won't cure at all. So I would just stay with the premix solution in the tube. Now, the next thing I'm going to recommend is sandpaper. Um, for helmets and stuff for the tight to reach areas, I like to use the sanding sponges. The one on screen is an assorted pack. It comes with 4 sponges, 2 fine and medium sponges. They alternate on each side, and then one coarse medium. You can get a finer one on the small edges, and then it's a broader area on the wider ones to get more of a surface area, along with just regular sandpaper. I also have a little Dremel that I use. I got it at Harbor Freight for about $20. Um, I would be careful with using Dremels though if you are first time user and experienced with them, because just because of how fast the RPMs on them are there, if you push down too hard on them, or you get a Dremel with too high of an RPM and a non-adjustable one, it will melt right through the plastic. So I would recommend for starting out just using regular sandpaper and then the sanding sponges. It will take longer, but you'll have less risk in damaging your 3D print. Now, for the last thing that I recommend for the post-processing, before you do your own customization, is the Rust-Oleum Automotive Primer, the 2-in-1 filler and sandable primer. This one is the best I've found. You can just use the regular filler one too, if that is all you can find at your local automotive store or Walmart. Um, but I like this one because you can either give it a light coat just to give it a good prime if you need to paint and you're happy with the smoothness, or if you have some of those deeper layer lines that are in those hard to reach areas, just don't want to put Bondo in to risk losing the details of the area. You can just apply a heavy coat of the Rust-Oleum Automotive Primer and then let that dry in the sun. I recommend letting it dry for at least 12 hours. You can leave it out in the sun for your first hour or two just to get that tackiness down and get it able to where you can touch it and pick it up and move it without risking leaving fingerprint smudges or tackiness with the paint and pulling the paint off with your fingers. It will be fine to touch. I just would not recommend sanding it any less than 12 hours. And that is all that I recommend for the post-processing on my end for what I use to generically post-process my 3D printed helmets and cosplay items. Now, of course, for your own customization, you can use whatever brand paints you want, along with whatever other details, decals, slash, just custom hand painted things you want. For spray paints, I've had really good results with Rust-Oleum spray paint so far. I've not had great results with Duplicolor. However, if you can find a hobby store that sells the little bitty cans of spray paint, those are extremely good quality. They are a little bit pricier, about 7, 8 bucks for the small cans, $12 sometimes, but they can get very good results. And if you eventually get to the point where you are really wanting to take your paint jobs to the next level, I would recommend investing in an airbrush kit. Um, Plenty of good paints you can find at Hobby Lobby, Amazon, again, just other craft stores. But the airbrush will take your um, paint job to the next level. I will say you can add a lot better weathering techniques with the airbrush than just some black watered down acrylic paint. So, thank you everybody for watching this video. Greatly appreciate you sticking around to figure out what I recommend for your post-processing on your 3D prints. I will be coming out with more videos soon showing how I do those. I'm currently working on a Phase 2 Captain Rex helmet that I have just gotten to the final priming stages. I'm working on sanding it down completely smooth and getting a base coat of white on there. So stay tuned for that video. Thank you all and hope you enjoyed.